I'm Sara Farmer. I'm a core team member at the Standby Task Force, CTO at Change Assembly. It's a company dedicated to improving the availability and use of development data. I usually give complex talks, but today I'm going to try to be different. So Standby Task Force, about 2 years old, about 1,000 volunteers. We've been involved in most responses, tools, and discussions in this area. This is what the Standby Task Force is generally known for, so turning social media feeds and messages into online maps and situation reports. This is the workflow for last month's election in Kenya. But people often think we're just about information. But we've got another role, knowledge, from helping to find and classify health facilities in Libya, mapping water facilities in Sudan and how they map to the IIT funding data, helping create the 3W lists, analysis, and knowledge and data about ourselves, to helping with code and standards that make automated reasoning about crises possible. This is HXL. It's going to become very important to you. Make friends with it. But today, there's too much to talk about, so I'm just going to talk about one of our deployments. So this is a preparation disaster needs analysis report. ACAPS produces them based on data that we gathered before a crisis. So it has sections on demographics, indicators, existing disasters, existing surveys. So the Standby Task Force just ran a deployment with ACAPS to see if crowdsourcing could help them with DNAs. ACAPS chose our test country, a place with lots of actors but very little official data, DR Congo. So we had a mix of Standby Task Force, university, and event attendees working on this. We split the work into teams. So we had teams on finding demographic data, indicators, disaster events, earlier assessments. We also had ACAPS, the team coordinators, and because we were handling data about rapes, murders, and such like, we had a counseling team who watched everybody. It was a huge deployment, so I'm just going to take you through part of that, which is the indicators work. Indicators tell you about the state of a region before a crisis hits. So here's just part of the DNA indicator section. But where to find them? This is the UNICEF statistics page of DR Congo. There's nothing there, no numbers, nothing to start from. So one of the teams went out and found the indicators and found good sources for them. So the team built a spreadsheet giving what, where, when the data came from that ACAPS are going to use in their DR Congo report. And they found sources we weren't expecting. They found gaps that we would. And the gaps were both space and time, as expected. But the deployment was bigger than DR Congo. So data is useless without meaning and communication. So we had mappers and data scientists who were looking at better ways to visualize that data. We also wanted to generalize to make it easier to get data for any country, not just one in the world. So here's the ask. A limited set of indicators from ACAPS, because they thought about what they needed, a suggested set of sources to start with. And we'll be adding to this source set using the data that we found in DR Congo. And here's the plan. So we automate indicator gathering from the websites we know about. We create data stores that you don't need an internet connection for. We create indicator sheets from those data stores for each country. Use the crowd to add indicators from other places, and then create the DNA using that. This is getting the data. So this is a star system for online data. So 1 star is okay, you've started. 4 stars is it's useful to machines and people alike. Most online humanitarian data is 1 star. It's PDFs, HTML tables, Excel with pretty headings that make machine reading later, but we have ways of making that data readable. So we wrote scrapers, code that converts online data into machine-readable tables. So the UNICEF country data, as an online table, it's updated automatically every month. And indicator data isn't clean. Here are all the names for DR Congo in that first data set. And the main country name standards are different too. So we built code to convert the country names for all countries into standard formats. And dates GIS reference is another source of pain. And the output is a CSV database, online and offline, and code to generate indicator spreadsheets for any country with or without the internet. It's the start of a conversation. It's about data accessibility, master sources, humanitarian APIs, and standards. For instance, lots of sites use the same original sources. Some of them round up the numbers, UNICEF, and most of them say, luckily, where they got the numbers from. And sometimes there's no data license on it. CIA. So we have to do provenance tracking. And we can automate some of that as well. But that's only the start. We have scaffolding. This breeds scaffolding. We can fill in the blanks. If we can't get the data, we can use proxies. Here's population density proxy. Volunteers code counting buildings in Somalia. Population, building time 2 to 4. And then purpose of communication. The day job work now is feeding directly into filling those blanks with a mix of data science and human knowledge. And thank you, and especially thank you to everybody who worked on the data deployment. You're all heroes.